She appeared in the darkest hour of the night, glowing, trembling, and out of place, her hands cold like moonlight, her eyes burning with secrets. Her long hair clung to her damp face, and the folds of her dress shimmered faintly under the broken starlight. She knelt in the dirt as if she'd fallen from the sky itself. When she whispered his name, Arsel, a poor boy's heart forgot it ever knew loneliness. Arsel had never believed in fate, not really. He believed in hard work, in long days of carrying firewood and fixing broken fences for a few coins. He believed in hunger, in cold nights with no blanket, and in prayers that echoed back from the sky unanswered. But that night, everything changed. He had gone deep into the woods behind his village, chasing the last bits of firewood before the cold crept in. It was almost midnight. The crickets had stopped chirping. The wind had stilled, like the world was holding its breath. And that's when he saw her, curled near the base of an old tree, glowing faintly. Her skin was pale with a bluish hue. Her fingers, Arsel would never forget, glowed like embers beneath water. He froze. No one from the village would dare go this far out at night. The stories of jinns, of cursed spirits, had kept even the boldest men away. But she didn't look like a monster. She looked lost, fragile, beautiful. "Are you all right?" he asked, cautiously stepping closer. No answer. Just those eyes. Silver, luminescent, watching him like she already knew who he was. When he touched her shoulder, she flinched, then collapsed forward into his arms. Her body was warm, too warm, and yet her hands felt like ice. He hesitated only for a second before scooping her up, cradling her as if she weighed nothing. And in that moment, something invisible stitched their fates together. Arsel brought her to his small mud brick hut on the village's edge. It wasn't much, just a mat, a lantern, and a thin blanket. He laid her down gently, brushing her hair from her face. He noticed the pointed tips of her ears then, subtle but not human. He should have been afraid. But he wasn't. He stayed up all night watching over her. The wind howled outside. She shivered once, and without thinking, he held her hand. In the early morning, as the first hint of sun kissed the horizon, her eyes fluttered open. "You brought me here." Her voice was soft, otherworldly. "You were in the woods. You fainted." She stared at him for a long moment. "You touched me. I had to. You were hurt. You're not afraid." Arsel smiled gently. "Should I be?" She studied him with those glowing eyes. "Most would have run. I've been running my whole life," he said. "Maybe it's time I stayed." She looked around the tiny hut, then at her own glowing hands. "They'll come for me." "Who?" She didn't answer. Instead, she closed her eyes. A faint shimmer passed over her skin, like a veil of stardust, and then she looked more human. The glow dimmed. The strange ears softened. "What are you?" Arsel whispered. She opened her eyes again. "Nezara. That's your name?" She nodded. "I'm not from here. I was never meant to be here. But I had no choice." Arsel wanted to ask 1,000 questions. But instead, he offered her water. A piece of stale bread. She accepted both with a grace that seemed unfamiliar with hunger. Over the next few days, Nezara remained hidden in his hut, only speaking in whispers. She was learning his language quickly, faster than seemed possible. But it was her silence that said the most. The way she watched the stars as if trying to remember something. The way she touched tree bark like it was sacred. The way her hands trembled when someone knocked too loudly at the door. Arsel kept her secret. Told no one. Not even his childhood friend, not the old woman who gave him soup every Thursday. One evening, as they sat outside in the moonlight, she asked, "Why are you alone?" Arsel shrugged. "My parents died long ago. I never had much. I work. I eat. I sleep. That's life." She tilted her head. "And what do you dream of?" "No one's ever asked me that," he said, surprised. "Then tell me now." He looked into her silver eyes. "I dream of leaving. Of going where no one knows me. Where I'm not just the poor boy. Where I can matter to someone." "You matter to me," she said, softly. Arsel's breath caught in his throat. Before he could respond, she reached out and placed her hand on his. Her fingers were still cool, but the touch sent warmth racing through his chest. "You don't know what I am," she whispered. "I know you're here. That's enough for me." She leaned in slightly, just enough for him to feel her breath on his cheek. "Would you still want me, if you knew I wasn't made for this world?" Without thinking, he cupped her face gently, his thumb brushing her cheek. "You're more real to me than anything I've ever known." And then, for the briefest moment, time seemed to stop. The stars above blinked slower. The earth beneath them pulsed like a heartbeat. And between them, a bond was forming, silent, powerful, and unstoppable. Arsel had always known love as a distant concept, something read in books or seen in glances between others. But with Nezra, every breath felt like a secret shared. Every silence between them carried meaning. The nights no longer belonged to the wind or the howls of jackals. They belonged to her, her soft voice, her slow smile, the way her fingers gently grazed his skin as if memorizing it. But love never arrives alone. It brings questions, doubts, shadows. Strange things had begun to happen around Arsel. The old man who mocked him at the well suddenly fell ill the next day, shivering and muttering nonsense. The shopkeeper who underpaid him for his labor dropped all his eggs in the market, claiming an invisible force tripped him. Whispers started in the village of curses, of eyes watching from the trees, of something unnatural moving at night. Arsel tried to ignore them. He tried to tell himself it was all coincidence. But deep down, something inside him was beginning to tremble. Not out of fear, but wonder. One night, as he returned home from a long day, he found Nezra sitting outside, her hair cascading over her shoulders, bathed in silver moonlight. Her eyes weren't just glowing, they were shining like twin galaxies, and her hands sparked softly, blue energy dancing at her fingertips. "Nezra," he whispered, pausing in the doorway. She turned to him, her expression unreadable. "I can't hide anymore. Not from you." He stepped closer. "I never asked you to." "No, but I hoped you wouldn't ask questions." Her voice cracked. "And I know you've been wondering." "I have." He knelt beside her. "Not because I'm afraid, but because I want to understand." She looked at him for a long time, then reached for his hand. Her touch was colder than usual. "I'm not just Jinzad, Arsel. I am hunted." His heart skipped. "By who?" "By the one I was promised to. A prince, not of any kingdom you know. His name is lost in your tongue, but in mine, he is called Zevar, the flame that devours stars." Arsel tried to make sense of her words. "You were promised before I was even born. My bloodline is ancient. My mother was of the upper realms, my father a warrior spirit. When I came of age, I was meant to be bound to Zevar in a celestial pact. But he is not love. He is possession. His touch burns. His kiss kills. I ran the moment I could. I tore through dimensions and ended up here torn, broken, until you found me." Arsel's mind raced. "He'll come for you." She nodded slowly. "And when he does, he'll come for you too." He pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her fragile form. "Then we run again. Together." "You don't understand," she whispered. "There's nowhere to hide from him. He exists beyond your world, beyond time. The only thing that's kept him from finding me is the bond one formed with you. It cloaks me in something he cannot see." Arsel blinked. "What bond?" "You," she whispered, laying her palm over his chest. "You let me in. When you touched me that night, without fear, without hesitation, a thread of your soul wrapped around mine. It changed me. It anchored me. It made me feel human." He swallowed hard. "And what does it make me?" She looked up, her eyes wet. "It makes you dangerous. It makes you something he'll want to destroy." For a long moment, silence sat between them like a heavy fog. Then Nezra leaned in, slowly, painfully, and pressed her lips against his. It was gentle at first, uncertain. Then fierce. Her kiss was unlike anything he had ever known, like drinking moonlight, like falling without fear. When they broke apart, her voice trembled. "I should leave before he senses more." "You're not going anywhere," Arsel said firmly. "If this bond protects you, then we make it stronger." "You don't know what that means." "Then show me." She hesitated. You're not ready. Then make me ready. She stared at him for a long time. Then she rose to her feet and walked barefoot into the hut. He followed her inside, heart pounding. That night, she revealed more than her past. She showed him what lay beneath her skin, shimmering veins of stardust that pulsed with emotion, a back marked by sigils that moved when touched, and eyes that briefly reflected the cosmos itself. Arsel touched her like he was touching a prayer. Every kiss was a vow. Every breath a promise. And as their bodies entwined, the energy between them surged, silent lightning filling the small room. The air shimmered. The walls trembled. And for a fleeting moment, their souls glowed in unison. Later, as she lay in his arms, her head on his chest, she whispered, "You don't know what you've done." He smiled into her hair. "Loved you? You've altered fate. Bound your soul to mine. Good. You might not be human anymore. Then I'm whatever you are." She cried silently then, not out of fear, but something older, deeper. Grief. Joy. Love. In the days that followed, they kept to themselves. The village grew more suspicious. Children spoke of lights in the trees. Dogs refused to go near Arsel's hut. And then, a shadow passed over the moon one night, black and cold. Nezra jolted awake. Her hand clutched her chest. "What is it?" Arsel asked. She whispered, almost inaudibly, "His close." And in that moment, the warmth in the room vanished. The nights grew heavier after that. Nezra slept less, spoke softly, and kept looking to the skies. Her eyes no longer shimmered with curiosity, they searched, endlessly, for something far beyond this world. Every time a shadow moved across the moon, her body tensed. She no longer let go of Arsel's hand, not even in sleep. Arsel tried to hide his worry. He kept pretending the world was still theirs, that their small hut could still keep something like fate out. But deep inside, a pressure had begun to build in his chest, a warning that time was closing in. One night, while fetching water from the nearby stream, Arsel heard it. A low hum. Not mechanical, not wind. Something vast. The trees bent slightly, as if bowing. The stars above shimmered in a strange pattern, blinking faster than they should. He turned and ran back, barefoot through the dust. Nezra was already outside. Her hair whipped around her like a storm. She stared skyward, her hands faintly glowing again. Her skin pulsed with blue light. "He's here," she whispered. Arsel barely had time to speak when the sky cracked. Not thunder. Not lightning. Something worse. A tear in the stars themselves. It rippled, split open, and from within emerged, him. Zevar. He did not land. He simply appeared, hovering above the trees, cloaked in black robes made of shadow and smoke. His face was painfully beautiful, like a statue carved by gods. But there was no warmth in it. Only hunger. His eyes were pure fire, white-hot, searing, ancient. Nezra. The voice shook the ground. It echoed inside their bones. "You dare run from me." Nezra stepped forward, defiant. Her glowing hand reached behind her, instinctively clutching Arsel's wrist. "I did more than run. I broke the chain. I chose." "You cannot choose a mortal," Zevar thundered. "You were born to be mine. Your bond with him is a wound in the order of the realms. I would rather burn than belong to you. So be it." The trees burst into blue flame. Arsel pulled her back. "We need to leave. There's nowhere to run," Nezra gasped. "Not unless." She turned, eyes wide with sudden hope. "The veil door." "What?" "There's a door," she said breathlessly. "A rift buried deep beneath the mountains, an ancient portal. It's the only way I can leave this realm safely without destroying myself. But I can't open it alone." Arsel grabbed her hand. "Then tell me what to do." She shook her head. "It's not just about doing. It's about giving. The door responds only to soul-bound lovers, those who die for one another." He stared into her glowing eyes. "Then we'll make it open." They ran. Through the village outskirts, through the forests that now shimmered with unnatural colors. The sky behind them pulsed with Zevar's fury. He didn't chase with steps, he bled into the wind, cracked the earth, shattered silence with his screams. And yet, they reached the base of the old mountain. Nezara fell to her knees, placing both hands on the stone. Her voice trembled with ancient words as she began the chant. A faint shimmer lit the rocks. Runes appeared, glowing with the same blue energy that pulsed through her veins. "It's working," Arsel shouted. Then a scream tore through the forest, Zevar's rage in its purest form. Trees snapped in half. The ground split open. And from the shadows, he emerged again. "You cannot escape destiny," he roared, arm outstretched. Black tendrils of energy shot toward them like spears. Nezara flinched, shielding Arsel with her own body. But Arsel stepped in front of her, arms spread wide. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." Zevar sneered. "Foolish human. Do you even understand what she is?" "I don't care," Arsel shouted. "She's mine. And I'm hers. That's all I need to know." Zevar's eyes narrowed. "Then die with her." The tendrils struck Arsel directly in the chest. Nezara screamed. But no blood flowed. Instead, light. Blinding, golden-white light burst from Arsel's chest. His body lifted slightly, levitating. The tendrils recoiled, burning away in the radiant force. Zevar staggered back. What have you done?" Nezara crawled to Arsel, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You didn't just bond with me," she whispered. "You accepted me fully. Our souls are fused. You're not human anymore." Arsel's eyes opened, glowing, golden, like dawn. He looked at Zevar with calm defiance. "Go back to your realm," Zevar roared, launching one final wave of energy at them. The veil door opened behind them, a swirling gateway of stars and galaxies. Nezara grabbed Arsel's hand. "Jump with me." Arsel nodded. They ran toward it together. But just before they crossed the threshold, Zevar struck one last time. His power hit Nezara's back. She gasped, stumbling. "No." Arsel caught her. "I can't make it through alone now," she whispered. "It's weakening me. You go. Please." "No." Arsel shouted. "I'm not leaving you." Their eyes locked. "I love you," she whispered, barely audible. And then, he did the only thing he could. He kissed her, right there, with all the power of a heart that had never known love until her. As their lips touched, the portal surged, the bond reignited, and together they vanished into the light. The forest fell silent. Zevar stood alone, his cloak torn, his pride shattered. The veil door closed. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, two lovers fell into a new world, one where no prince could touch them, no curse could break them, and every night began with a kiss under a foreign sky. The light faded slowly, not like a flame extinguished, but like a dream releasing its hold. Arsel opened his eyes to a sky he had never seen before. Violet clouds moved in slow spirals above a silver forest that whispered in a language he didn't understand. The stars here pulsed gently, like breathing creatures. Gravity felt softer. Sound felt deeper. And in his arms, Nezara stirred. She blinked, confused, then gasped and sat up, her hands glowing bright and steady. "We crossed." Arsel looked around. "Where are we?" She touched the grass, which shimmered under her fingers. "A liminal world. A place between realms. The bond brought us here, it chose a path where neither time nor law could follow." He helped her stand. The wound Zevar had left on her back was gone, as if erased. Her eyes glistened as she looked up at him. "You saved me." "You saved me first," he replied, brushing her cheek with his thumb. "You showed me I was more than just a poor boy." She smiled softly. "You were always more. You just didn't know." They spent their first day exploring in silence. Trees that bent to their movements. Streams that reflected not just their faces, but memories. Colors that didn't exist on Earth, emotions that had taste. At night, they lay under the sky, arms tangled together, their bodies humming with the warmth of the bond. "I feel like I'm dreaming," Arsel whispered. Nezara nestled against him. "Then never wake up." Time moved differently there. Or maybe not at all. Days blurred into nights that shimmered with auroras. They built a home together in the curve of a stone hill, a place made of light and intention, not bricks or straw. No walls, only energy. No locks, because nothing hunted them anymore. Arsel began to change. Slowly. The golden glow in his eyes never left now. His hands could mold light, heal wounds, even bend the air when he concentrated. But he never lost his human warmth, his softness, his stubborn hope. He remained Arsel, but more. One evening, Nezra sat by the stream, watching the water ripple with starlight. "There's something I never told you," she said. He joined her, brushing her hair aside gently. "When I first fled Zevar, I wasn't just running from a marriage. I was carrying something. Something ancient. A seed. A relic." "What kind of relic?" She hesitated. "A celestial life spark. A source of creation. It was hidden inside me. That's why Zevar wanted me, not because he loved me, but because I carried power. He planned to use it to reshape galaxies, to rewrite destiny. But when we bonded, it transferred." Arsel blinked. "Into me?" "No," she whispered. Her hand touched her stomach. "Into us." His heart skipped. "You mean?" She nodded, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I'm with child." Arsel was speechless. She reached for his hand. "I didn't think it was possible. Not between our kinds. But this place, this bond, it made the impossible real." He stared at her glowing hand resting over her belly, then back into her eyes. "Then we'll raise them together. Here. In a world made by love, not war." And in that moment, the sky above them pulsed once. As if it agreed. Back on Earth, Arsel's village would whisper of the night the sky cracked open and the poor boy vanished. Some said he was taken by jinn. Others believed he became one. The old woman by the well left food near his hut every week, just in case he returned. But he never did. Only once, many seasons later, a child wandered deep into the forest and claimed to see two glowing figures walking hand in hand beneath trees that spoke in song. One had silver hair and pointed ears. The other glowed like the sun. No one believed him. But the story remained. And in the liminal world beyond stars, Arsel and Nezra watched their child take its first breath. The sky blinked in rhythm with the baby's cries. Flowers bloomed with each heartbeat. And love, true love, proved itself once more as the most powerful force in the cosmos. Nezra held the child close, her voice soft as moonlight. He was poor in gold, she whispered, but rich in the love that changed fate. And Arsel, standing beside her, smiled into a sky made not by gods or kings, but by a single, impossible choice. To love. No matter what. Forever.